Hello and welcome to this video on place or distribution. So we've been looking at the 4Ps of the marketing mix that the marketing department needs to consider in order to sell products successfully. And in this video, we're going to look at place. So we're going to look at, by place, we're going to look at channels of distribution. We're going to look at some of the benefits and disadvantages of some different channels, and then look at the impact of online distribution. So distribution is the process of getting a firm's product to the market, i.e. from the producer of the product or service to the customer, the final consumer. And distribution channels are the routes to the market that a product takes. So how does it get from the producer to the final customer? Is it sold directly, or are there other businesses involved in the process? So let's have a look at some examples of different types of distribution channels. At the bottom here, we've got selling directly to consumers. So the producer produces a service, and it goes straight to the consumer. But at the top, we've got a more complicated approach here where the producer sells the product to a wholesaler, who then in turn sells that product to a retailer, who in turn sells that product to a consumer. So when might this be an appropriate form of distribution? Well, if you think of something like a newspaper company, the newspaper company manufactures the newspapers. They will then sell it to an intermediate company, the wholesaler. This company will then sell those newspapers onto, or magazines, onto a retailer who will then sell it to you, the final consumer. The second example here we've got is just selling through a retailer. So the producer sells it to another business who then sells it to the consumer. An example here might be a car company. The manufacturer of the car might sell it to a chain or a retailer of cars, a car showroom, who in turn sell it on to the consumer. And then lastly, we've got selling directly to consumers, a short distribution channel where the producer sells directly to the consumer. And this would be something like perhaps an airline like Ryanair. You buy it straight from the airline and there's no company involved in between. Now the businesses in between, the wholesaler and the retailer, we call them channel intermediaries. These are the organizations a product travels through from manufacturer to end consumer. And in a long distribution channel, there are a number of intermediaries, either the wholesaler and the retailer. And in the short distribution channel, there may be no intermediaries, maybe direct from the producer to the consumer. Now, some businesses use more than one approach to this. So for example, someone like Apple will use wholesalers and retailers and sell directly to customers. They also sell increasingly online. So Apple use lots of different ways to get their products to the consumer. What are the benefits and drawbacks of this approach? Well, here we have some examples of benefits and drawbacks. So we can target market segments more effectively, or a wider range of market segments. Increasingly, customers expect them to be available by more than one channel. We can have potentially higher sales. On the drawback side, it can be complex to manage. It can be confusing for customers when they see lots of different prices because these products have gone through different businesses. So how do we choose what's the most appropriate distribution channel? Well, some things to think about. What is the nature of the product? Is it going to go off? Is it quite technical, complex? Is it customized? If it's more perishable, more complex and more customized, we might look at a shorter distribution channel. For example, like a hairdresser. We might also consider the nature of the market. Is it geographically spread? What are the competition levels like? Can we sell it online, or would it actually have to be face-to-face? And then lastly, think about the business itself. Is it a big business? What is the nature of the business? Does it have an established distribution network like a supermarket? Now, a big change in distribution in recent times has been the introduction of online distribution. So using a virtual marketplace, goods are ordered online that are then delivered directly to the customer. This has cut out many of the intermediaries in distribution channels. So lots of businesses now use online delivery to get products directly to customers, whereas in the past they might have used perhaps a retailer in between. Some of the benefits and drawbacks. Again, here you might want to pause the video, have a read through the benefits and drawbacks, and perhaps take down the 3 on each side that you think most appropriate. So in this video, we've looked at place, the elements of the marketing mix that the marketing department decide how to get the product from the producer to the consumer. What is the best way of doing that? We've looked at some different distribution approaches, wholesaler, retailer, direct, and we've looked at some of the benefits and drawbacks of a multi-channel approach and online distribution. That's it. Thank you very much for listening.